Imagine a first date on a crisp December evening, full of promise and excitement, suddenly interrupted by a chilling act of violence. The true story of Betty Lou Jensen and David Faraday. This is the true horror of how two teenagers were shot dead while on their first date. Stalking the Zodiac Killer was as simple as pulling over at a road called Lake Herman Road and became a chapter out of horror movie.be. Prepared to discover bitter truth about their fate, discover what happened to Zodiac Killer and go through one of the most famous cold cases of the 20th century. Well, sit back, relax and hear the first documented mysteries of the Zodiac Killer and conceptualize the pain gamut of the first victims of the Zodiac Killer. I swear, you do not want to blink as you go through each chapter of true crime. Betty and David Image and Zodiac Killer Image. October 20th, December 1960s, Betty Lou Jensen and David Faraday, two young people of 16 and 17 years respectively, thought that they were going to experience a magical night, but instead they were brutally killed by Zodiac Killer using a .22 caliber gun through the window of their station car along Lake Herman Road. As more details of Zodiac Killer arises, let me explain to you more about this horrific incident. California Vallejo clip. And night clip. The fictive setting is a quiet city of Vallejo, California, in the late 1960s, and the main characters are young siblings who know everyone in their town, and their daily routine is as slow as it gets. It was a time when the doors of the houses were opened and children stayed outdoors until it became dark. However, this feeling of safety was soon destined to be destroyed in a manner that no one had fathomed. The story revolves around two teenagers, Betty Lou Jensen and David Faraday, who were looking forward to going for their first date on the evening of December 20th, 1969. If she was extracted from the story, Betty Lou, a 17-year-old joyful young girl, loved arts and wanted to teach people after she grew up. David was 17-year-old, also as smart as John, and he wanted to be an engineer when he grew up. It was a sweet, innocent kind of love that comes with youth, and they were excited for a very normal dinner date, and then a ride to a chosen spot on the Lake Herman Road. Huddled inside their car enjoying the calm of night and the stars above, they failed to see the unpleasantness looming in the darkness. Then the calm was disturbed by the sound of the gunshots. It was just a few seconds before the happy evening turned into a nightmare. Betty Lou's lifeless body was discovered. David was left severely incapacitated. This grim incident signaled the start of a murder spree by a man who would come to be called the Zodiac Killer. Months passed. The killer attacked again. While the nation was engaged in fireworks and laughter on July 4, 1969, Darlene Ferrin and Michael Mageau in their car decided to drive to Blue Rock Springs Park for a solitude to talk. Darlene had a reputation of being an optimistic person, and which made her seem to be adored by anyone that she crossed paths with. The qualities that Michael noted from her were beautiful, and his favorite was the passion to live. Both were only mere young lovers who had their dreams and expectations of the future. While sitting in the car, a man came nearby, and then suddenly, violence ruined the peace. Darlene was killed on the spot while Michael survived with critical injuries on his body. It was for the first time that the police got an idea of the killer, a young white male with curly hair. However, the Zodiac continued to be spotlight as this phantom figure, and continued to invent mysteries and fearful the whole community. After that, in a very creepy manner, the Zodiac started mailing letters to various newspapers in the area. These were not mere confessions, they were teasing, full of ciphers and symbolism that sent shivers on the spine. He appeared to relish the fact that he is instilling fear to people, and even came out in full-blown boasting of his exploits, and challenging the public to decipher his codes. It is difficult to get one's head around some of the things that have been written. One went to the extent of writing a letter saying, "I like killing people because they make me have so much fun." These letters have made Zodiac into both a figure of horror and mythology. It called everybody from amateur sleuths to professional decryptors into play who wanted to get to the bottom of the puzzles and unmask the man behind the marquee. The Zodiac's words were not just writing, they were a mind game, a form of a psychological warfare aimed at provoking the police and messing with the general public. Recalled the Zodiac's actions, they killed again on September 27, 1969. Two college students named Brian Hartnell and Cecilia Shepard was on a leisure chilling time near the Lake Berryessa. It was a bright day and the water was calm of the lake, meaning there were only small waves to the shores. However, the earth was broken when one man came with black hood and something like emblem on his chest. He handcuffed them and killed them in a very brutal way. Cecilia died from her injuries, and Brian, who also was injured, is a survivor, making it an eerie new chapter of the Zodiac Killer. In contrast to the fairly hysterical host they selected, he was unflappable and deliberate during the attack, fitted into the personality of a psychopathic killer, who did not seem to possess anything other than evil within him. The letters of the Zodiac kept coming, and each one of them was even more provocative and gruesome as the previous ones. He said he would go to a school and shoot schoolchildren, saying that he would shoot at a school bus and start picking the children one at a go. This threat affected the whole community and made parents of the children panic and increased more security measures. Nonetheless, these threats remained unrealized, and it left everyone questions whether these were part of the Zodiac's sick play. The police received a lot of tips and leads and other information about Zodiac, but he was always one to outdo the police. They reached dead end with each new clue that was discovered, and the frustration within the police force increased. The numbers of suspects increased with every new name, deepening the complexity of the crime. Of the many suspects, one stood out from the remaining from the lot: Arthur Leigh Allen. He was a dangerous man with mysterious background, and the man had a Zodiac brand watch on his wrist. Quite a macabre coincidence. However, even while there seemed to be the circumstantial evidence, entrapment that would nailed him to guilt, the concrete evidence remained hard to come by. The fingerprint and the handwriting experts proved to be of no help to get him the desired results to be convicted. Another suspect, Richard Gaikowski, also fitted the physical description of the two witnesses who saw the perpetrators. The authorities suspected him regarding his involvement in counterculture activities. Still, as it happened in Allen's case, the tangible evidence was nowhere to be found, and the identity of Zodiac remained a mystery. The story of Zodiac also turned in to be cultural icon for making books, movies, and programs. He was not only the criminal, but the representation of a criminal, a problem without a solution. His unsolved case became the fascination of true crime lovers, and anyone with a passion in solving complex puzzles and making it even more compelling with a new theory. Till date, and after many years of research and numerous theories, nobody knows the identity of Zodiac Killer. His story was not only that of a murder, but of a city that was afraid, the public who were playing a psychological threat, and a nation which was fascinated by a killer, who was continue reading page 2, challenging the intelligence of law enforcement. It seems that fear will continue to rule the world, as the Zodiac horror is a perfect example of people's attraction to the dark side. His letters to his various correspondents, full of obscure codes and menacing vague messages, were being decoded and deciphered by both professionals and hobbyists. Theories and suspects that are presented to us each time only contribute to the matrix of everything that happened, and beckons the desire to investigate more into the mind of a predator who has become one of the most enigmatic characters in the world of true crime. As we go through this compelling story, we are again and again brought to the awareness of the evil that may exist in our everyday life. The Zodiac Killer's narrative challenges the society to begin to ponder how such a being exists, existent and active in the world, and the nature of the psychological mind of the killer, together with his actions that elicits fear and dominance. Welcome to Unresolved, the podcast about the Chameleon Man, where we peel back layer by layer, inch by inch, in pursuit of something like answers for a man whose face no one could put a name to for 40 years, as he preyed on their citizens of America. We are ready to present one of the most amazing works which tells about the true story of the Zodiac Killer, and we are to present it as an ente that will engage you throughout every single moment of the narration, as we draw together the threads of one of the most mysterious American cases. The Zodiac story is not only of a killer, but of a community trapped by its fear, police and detectives who devoted their lives to solving the case, or people who became involved in the enigma and finding the answers for the questions that are still open. As we go farther into the intricate and complex world of Zodiac, the Zodiac Killer's story is a testament to the complexities of the human mind, a chilling tale that invites us to question what drives someone to such extremes. Join us as we delve into this captivating saga, where each discovery brings us one step closer to understanding the mind of a predator who remains one of the most elusive and fascinating figures in the annals of true crime history. Prepare to be enthralled as the story of the Zodiac Killer unfolds, a story that promises to keep you transfixed from beginning to end, as we unravel the threads of one of America's most enduring mysteries. The Zodiac Killer's story is not merely a tale of terror and intrigue. It is a chronicle of the times, a reflection of a society grappling with fear and uncertainty. It is a narrative that speaks to the darker aspects of human nature, to the innate curiosity that draws us to the unknown, and to the resilience of a community determined to uncover the truth. As we delve deeper into the labyrinth of the Zodiac's mind, we encounter a tapestry woven with fear, fascination, and the relentless pursuit of justice. We meet the detectives who labored tirelessly, following leads and piecing together clues in a bid to bring the killer to justice. We explore the lives of those touched by the Zodiac's reign of terror, the families left to grapple with loss and the enduring mystery of unsolved crimes. The Zodiac Killer's story is a testament to the complexities of the human mind, a chilling tale that invites us to question what drives someone to such extremes. It is a story that challenges our understanding of evil and compels us to confront the darker aspects of our own psyche. When trying to unravel the story of Zodiac, one can recall the importance of any story, of humanity, of the ability to show the inside of people's fears and desires, and the way to depict the world as close as possible. Embark on this trip of exploring the darkness of the Zodiac psyche, and let us aim at solving the mystery of one of the most infamous criminals of all time. It is the idea of a story which can enamor and perplex at will, and can invite critical interpretation while leaving behind a thoughtful mode of contemplation after the last page has been turned. Let's go deeper into the Zodiac Killer case. Each turn is a step into the abyss, and the search for justice turns into a search for the essence of evil. The Zodiac Killer's story is not simply one of murders, but the effect that the events had on townsfolk. The tireless and exhaustive tracking of the killer by the police, as well as an intriguing and rather macabre view into the mind of a criminal who enjoyed toying with and terrorizing the community. While following this complex story, we learn about the general consequences of Zodiac's crimes, as for the society and the idea of safety and trust, and how they influenced the development of criminalistics. The Zodiac Killer was not only using letters and cryptic messages to terrify people, but they were a textbook case of psychological warfare. Every letter was carefully written more as a defiance, and as provocation aimed at engaging the public and the authorities into a dangerous game of his own, which the villain clearly controls. It is changes in which symbols, ciphers, the cold declarations of the intention turned him from the simple criminal into an intellectual, into the enigmatic character who was quickly weaved into the setting as the focus, as the mystery. These correspondences became an obsession to many, ranging from common citizens in their bid to solve the crime to cryptographers in their bid to get into the Zodiac's mind. The open-ended messages begged for solutions, for attempts to make sense of the nonsense that he had presented. The challenge called for the order. The case of Zodiac Killer left a social influence on the people in terms of the fear he instilled among the members of the community, as well as the interest it created in the unidentified killer. It generated a lot of popular interest in real-life crime, and created a cultural impact in literature, cinema, and media. The Zodiac turned into a representation of the mysterious and unknown, becoming a personification of fear that may be lurking in the everyday life. These elements of the man's story have been depicted by various authors who endeavored to portray the nature of a murderer more like a creature from the folklore. While roaming the dark halls of the Zodiac's psyche, we get to meet the detectives that swore to solve the crime. Gentlemen like Detective Dave Toschi, who for a decade never stopped until he brought justice to the hearts of many. Toschi vowed to follow the Zodiac's lead and thus establish a pattern by which other detectives would follow. Toschi's life and that of the Zodiac became a hunter-prey scenario. The Zodiac's story is also one of the victims of lives lost and dreams that were never achieved. It's a plea for people, the victims, the families who have to confront the reality and deal with the injustice of it all. Not to mention the cold case's mystery. These are shocking and sad tales to hold against a killer's media celebrity, which is a very cold reminder of the destroyed youth or the transformed lives. In the unfolding of the Zodiac's case, it is important to get to understand the psychological impression of a murderer who hardly fitted into any preconceived mold. The Zodiac was a very skilled killer, one who would not stick out in a crowd. In fact, he would become invisible to the naked eye. his aptness to escape from the police, to always stay one move ahead of the police, goes to show the kind of premeditation that puzzles the minds until today. Analyzing the Zodiac's personality is proven to be a vivid and passionate person powered by the need for control and recognition. These letters construct a self-asserted, egotistical, contemptuous male who relished the authority that he had over an enslaved populace. That Zodiac was capable of making media and police work for him shows a degree of psychological insight into people. Insight that was used to turn the people of Southern California into frightened rabbits. As the narration slowly unfurls the file layers of the Zodiac's plot, one gauges how the popularity of storytelling reflects people's ability to want to learn more about themselves and the society they live in. The film Zodiac once again underlines a strong, undisguised threat of evil latent in the threshold of daily life. How twisted a spirit can get, and is a story that prompts the questions: what led him to commit such act? The Zodiac story still echoes. It is because the climate of fear and the interest in the sinister never fades away. His story is still here, a warning of the evil that exists in the world even if we may never know about it. The Zodiac Killer's story is in its essence a call to delve into the mysteries of human spirit, to face the shades of our own soul, and to ponder what it means to be an evil. In the final analysis, the Zodiac Killer narrative is not merely horror and mystery.